Well, how we doing, guys? It is Monday, April 19th, 2021. Um, Today's video is going to be maybe a little bit, I guess, a little bit of a continuation of a video I uploaded on Saturday. Those of you that watch the channel will have noticed that on Saturday I uploaded a video of was in the car. My mom asked me to take a ride with her. We went to see the demolition progress at the Burlington Center Mall in Burlington, New Jersey. I uploaded the video, and we're a small channel here, so we don't get a whole lot of views, but that video got more views than more views in its first few hours, first 24 hours actually, than I would say the videos that I've uploaded 8 months ago have gotten. So I thought we would do another video where we talk a little bit about some things regarding that mall and share some memories, some things that were special to me about that place. And I kind of hope that starts a dialogue. And I would also like to maybe offer some suggestions, polite suggestion or two to some of the dead mall people that do videos. First off, before we get into that, I should say that to the dead people, the folks in the dead mall community, I'm not a dead mall person, but this mall happened to be close to me, so that's why we're covering a little bit. But to those individuals that make those videos, they put a lot of research and a lot of effort into making those videos. So obviously, all due respect to those people. They produce excellent content. Guys like Sal, Dan Bell, some of the others. Wally B's actually doing some stuff with dead malls a little bit too. He likes his old Ames store, so. But I did see he covered a dead mall too. So much respect to those folks. They do excellent stuff. Good work. So anyhow, I guess one of the first things we should talk about with regards to the Burlington Center Mall, obviously we know it was built and opened August of 1982. It was a Jim Rouse and Company mall. We all know that J.C. Penney's was at it in 1996. Sears and Strawbridge's were your original anchors. Penney's was at it in August of 96. And, the mall in its later years just wasn't really taken care of very well, and it was more or less let go. And then, obviously, was purchased a couple years ago, and as we know, it's now being demolished. I understand they're going to be putting warehouses and such on that property, and there's going to be some retail development too. But anyhow, so let's talk a little bit about some things with that mall that are special to me. Well, first of all, number one, I worked there. I was an electronics salesman at the Sears in 2005 for a little bit. That was kind of a way of me reintroducing myself to the work world. My dad had been in a car accident and messed up his back, and I spent a little bit of time helping him. I had a cousin that was younger than my dad by a lot, but she had a very similar accident. I wound up helping her for a little while and doing some painting and such in their house. And 2005 rolled around. It was my time to reintroduce myself to the world. I was in my mid-20s at that point, and I said, you know what, let's go be a salesman. So we did that for a little while. So that was pretty neat working there. I worked in the Sears. Met some interesting people. It helped me with my social skills because I was, never really the most social person in the world, but I take stuff, I take it head on. I go right for it. I'm going to jump right in there. And, it helped me immensely. I wasn't at that job very long. I moved on to bigger and better things. But, what it did for me as far as helping my social skills was very, very good thing. So, it holds good memories for that in that respect. In these videos that I see, there's on YouTube with reference to the dead, to the dead malls and stuff, when they cover Burlington Center, there's always the talk about Petal, the elephant statue that was made and put down in front of Strawbridge's, and that was a wonderful fountain, and wonderful statue. We always looked at it when I went there, but you know the people that cover that mall never bother to mention the other two fountains that were in that mall. There was a small fountain in front of Sears. If you guys look at the videos when they cover it, that would be the area where they had the wood flooring. They had the wood flooring there in front of Sears. You had a fountain there. And then you also had a fountain down at Center Court with the escalators. That area would drop down. There was a fountain. And actually in the wintertime, I believe they would turn that off, if I remember correctly. They would shut that off, put a little ramp in with some green flooring, and had a bunch of Christmas decorations. And that's actually, prior to J.C. Penney's being built, that's actually where Santa Claus used to be at Christmas time. If you want to go get your picture taken with Santa Claus. And here's something else. When I was a kid going through school, there was you had your little grades, you had like your math and your spelling and all that stuff. There was a bookstore there. And my mom used to go to that bookstore, and she would get these books. They were paperback books, but it would help to, she'd have me go through them and do pages and stuff. It's the easy math that she knew how to do. But she would have me go through those workbooks. If I was bored and didn't have anything else to do, open up the workbooks and do a couple pages. They were like math and spelling and stuff like that to, kind of help supplement what I learned in school. And actually, when I was in the second grade, I was so good at math between those books and working with my brother that, they were almost just before the end of the year ready to place me in a third grade math test. In fourth grade math class, excuse me. And it got a little bit too close to the end of the year, so we just said, you know what, we'll start that class following, in the third grade. But, those books were very helpful, and it was pretty interesting. Upstairs in the Sears wing, they had a hobby shop. I remember a funny story. My uncle one time, he got this remote control airplane there. And he took it out, I think it was probably out near Burlington County College or something, in the parking lot. This was years ago at the Pemberton campus. And he had his dad, because this guy had to film everything. His dad had the video camera, he's filming. And I watched the airplane go up, and it goes right for his dad with the airplane. Like, what the hell are you doing? His dad, jumped out of the way and fell over with the camera. His dad was okay. He lived another 20 years after that, too. But that was kind of a silly story there. But he purchased that remote control airplane at that hobby shop. That was always neat. I went in there a couple times with my brother when he got projects through school, so we were kind of close growing up. So that was fun. Anytime you attended that mall, you made a stop at the food court. Whether it was you wanted to get yourself some pizza, some Chinese food, really great Chinese food and pizza there. And they had other, obviously other stuff, other types of food as well. And, the people were always very kind to us. We never had any issues with anybody at that food court. Always very good people. And then, obviously, if you watch this channel, I'm a music lover, and actually I'm going to be putting together another video today with some CDs I picked up over the weekend at a record store. But that mall, Burlington Center, at one time, this is late 80s to about 1990, or late 80s, early 90s, they actually had both Musicland and Sam Goody in there at one time. I don't know if the one place was just finishing up the lease, and the other one was going to take over, but I believe both those stores were affiliated with each other. So that was my thing as a kid. I used to love going into the record stores and going through the racks, and I enjoyed that. Obviously, I wear glasses. You know, Sears had the optical center like any Sears. Always got great service there. There was a lens crafters there. I actually bought a pair of glasses that I had. You saw me with them in some of my earlier videos when I started the channel. I bought a pair of glasses at the lens crafters there in 2009 and wore them until February of last year. And when I got the first pair in 2020, and they got broke in the trailer at work. The nose pads are destroyed, so this was the backup pair. So we're just going to use these until it's time to get a new prescription, probably later on this year. But I ran that pair of glasses for 11 years, and my prescription only went up a tiny bit, like a minimal upgrade. Said your prescription didn't change that much. They were trying to sell me bifocals, I guess, because I'm getting older, but I probably should get them for reading, but whatever. Yeah, we'll consider that next time. But I found it amazing. Those glasses held up that many years, so that's pretty cool. Sears Portrait Studio. If I had time to go through the box and through the albums, guys, I could show you some portraits that my sister and brother and I had, parents had done of us there. We had a family portrait with my mom, my two siblings and I, and my oldest niece. We had that done there in 1992. And, the portrait studio was always good. The pictures of Santa Claus out in the center court prior to them building J.C. Penney's. That was always fun. Now, when we were kids, like many people in my age group, my brother and sister and I, we started out with Atari, and then we had Nintendo, and then my brother had Sega Genesis, and I had Super Nintendo. So Babbage's was a normal place for us to go. We went to Babbage's, and we got video games. Babbage's, for you younger folks, would later go on to be called GameStop. 1991, I ventured into Farrington's Music. Got an acoustic guitar. First time I had ever owned a musical instrument in my life. I still haven't learned how to play guitar right to this day, but that was fun. And I got my first guitar there. First instrument I ever owned in my life for playing music. Radio Shack. I took electronics when I was in high school. It's always been an important part of my life. Try to get stuff, try to fix stuff, keep things going, rather than just replacing stuff all the time. And, Radio Shack was always pretty good. In the 1990s, mid-90s, everybody was doing, the big thing was Dolby Pro Logic surround sound. So I had bought a Pioneer receiver, VSX 454 at the time. Got some tower speakers to go with it, some surround speakers. I had a 25-disc Pioneer CD changer. And when I stopped at Sears to get the matching cassette deck, they didn't have the one that I wanted in stock. I didn't want the highest model, but I didn't want the cheapest model. I wanted the one kind of in the middle. They didn't have that one at the time. So at that time, Radio Shack's Optimus branded stuff was actually rebadged Pioneer. So I walked down to that Radio Shack and said, "You guys have this cassette deck in stock?" And they had, sure enough, they had the Optimus. The only difference was the Pioneer screen was amber at the time. The little LCD screen was amber. And on the Optimus, it was blue. But you could still run the control cable from the cassette deck to the receiver and actually control the cassette deck with the remote from the Pioneer receiver. So that's pretty cool. And I got it for a good price. No complaints. Everybody remembers Annie Ann's for the pretzels, but I'll do you one better. How about stopping off at Hot Sam's in that mall to get yourself a pretzel and some lemonade? We always did that when Dad would take my brother and I there, and on the weekends with like a roll of quarters or whatever, and say, "Here, let's go into the arcade and have some fun." And I always played the car games and stuff. And when we got done, we got all that out of our system for the day, we'd always stop off at Hot Sam's and get a pretzel before we left. So that was one that I enjoyed. And then, over the years, KB Toy Store, who that was down on the lower level. Everybody always, went off the KB toy store. I was a kid, you know. I was born the year before that mall opened, so I was a kid. Spent my early years going there. So of course we went in a KB toy store and got stuff, and then you know, my mom was a small woman, petite woman. So I remember her going there. They used to have this shop that sold clothing for women. I think it was called 579. She would go there. My sister, when she got married to her first husband, they got their rings at K Jewelers. I bought a ring for myself at one time at Zales, and you could go on and on and on about all the different places. I believe they had cell phone stores in there at one time, and even in the end, Radio Shack was doing the cell phone sales. I think that's kind of what did them in, actually. That and their lack of getting into the internet and really running a full-fledged internet program. But yeah, anyhow, this is just some. I'm sure if I sat down with it, and we're at 16 minutes in this video right now, so I gotta bring this thing to a close here in a sec, so it don't take forever to upload. But this is just a list, this little list right here that I've been reading from, and those last two I just did out of my head, just thinking about them. You know, I'm sure if I sat down and thought for a little bit longer, I could come up with even more stuff, different lighting that they changed in that place over the years. But this is, this is the kind of stuff you want to hear about malls. And, my friendly suggestion to like the Dan Bells and Sal's of the world, you guys make excellent videos. Okay? Some of the best dead mall videos I've ever seen in my life. But if I could offer this friendly idea, maybe it might make your videos even just that next level, better. Maybe to try and network with people before you cover a mall, if you can come across even one or two decent people that could share a story with you about the mall when it was alive and doing well. You could have talked. If I would have known you guys were around when you covered that mall, I would have been more than happy to sit and talk with you and share my memories with you, because it could make these malls so much better. These mall videos so much better. I think even better. So anyhow, we're going to bring this one to a close. I hope you enjoy videos like this. We have another one coming up later. I'm going to work on it later. If you do, hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you on the next video. You all have a great day and be safe.